Just quickly, in case you missed the breaking news this evening, the undefeated all-British clash between number 1 and number 2 world-ranked light heavyweights Joshua Buatsi and Dan Azeez has been postponed after Azeez suffered an injury in his final training session. talkSPORT were scheduled to bring you that fight live this Saturday. We can get the views on this now and look ahead to Jake Catterall's fight this weekend with Matchroom's main man, Eddie Hearn, joins us. Hello, Eddie. How are you?
I'm good, boys. How are you?
We're good. Thank you so much for coming on. Listen, we'll get your views on Buatsi Azeez in just a bit, but let's talk about you and your fight. As you're in San Francisco at the moment, is that right?
Yeah, just got out here. We've got a big press conference in about an hour's time. Devin Haney fighting Regis Prograis for the WBC Light Welterweight World Championship. Devin Haney, the undisputed champion at lightweight, coming up to 140. So it's a big fight out here. First World Championship fight in San Francisco in over a decade, and already sold nearly 10,000 tickets in the first week. So it's about 7 weeks away. So the launch pressure is in about an hour's time.
Let me ask you, Haney's last fight was against Lomachenko in the lightweight division, I think it was. So how much of a challenge do you think it's going to be for him to move up and fight a seasoned super lightweight fighter?
Yeah, he's been a big lightweight for a long time. I mean, obviously he had some good wins. Then he went over to Australia to win the undisputed championship against Kambosos, beat him again in the rematch, then beat Lomachenko. And now it's time for him to move up. Regis Prograis is a huge puncher at 140 pounds. It's an electric fight, it really is. Probably two of the top fighters at 140, 2 pound for pound top fighters. Haney certainly as well. And it's a big test for Haney. He's a super skilled fighter, but Prograis has got that dog in him. We saw him in great fights with Josh Taylor and recaptured the world title as well. So he can really punch. And I think they don't particularly like each other, and we should get a decent press conference today.
When you look at Devin Haney, I mean, a lot of people call him one of the pound-for-pound kings on the planet, and rightly so, because I think he's a fantastic boxer. Can you see Prograis really causing that many problems, even though Devin Haney's stepping up? Yeah,
I think you've got to get inside. You've got to make Haney fight. I mean, on the outside, he's fantastic. He's very well schooled. Comes a bit from that Floyd Mayweather school. Grew up around boxing from an early age, but you need to really set about him, and that's a difficult thing to do. But Prograis can box and fight, and a lot of people feel like that he could hurt Devin Haney. He's a much bigger guy going in there, and he carries a lot of power as well. So Devin Haney's super slick, but Regis Prograis is a fantastic boxer who can really punch as well.
We just spoke about Josh Taylor there. Obviously, he fought Prograis, but now Jack Catterall, obviously, who had that decision against Josh Taylor, which was obviously a shocking decision. We all know that Jack Catterall won. He's fighting Jorge Linares. It's a big fight for Jack Catterall because I felt sorry for him ever since he lost that fight, which he didn't lose, but he did lose, about him getting back on and hopefully progressing to become a world champion.
Yeah, Catterall's like the uncrowned, undisputed world champion, isn't he? I mean, everybody knows. I know scoring's subjective, and Josh Taylor's a great fighter, but I don't think one person watched that fight who didn't think he deserved to be undisputed that night. And it's been a tough road back for him since then. Had a good win last time out, but steps up the levels on Saturday. Big show for us in Liverpool, and a really good fight. Jorge Linares, who is coming towards the end of his career, has boxed 4 Brits. Luke Campbell, Anthony Crolla twice, and Kevin Mitchell, beat every one of them. But, it's his last roll of the dice, really, in big-time fights. But he's trained hard. He's back with Ismail Salas. But Jack needs to make a statement. We want to make that Josh Taylor rematch in January or February next year. It'll be a huge rematch to make, but he's got to look good on Saturday night.
If Jack Catterall does win the fight, how far is he from another world title shot? Could we see?
Yeah, I mean, look, we got a lot of top fighters at 140 pounds. I mean, I can see Jack Catterall maybe even fighting the Regis Prograis Devin Haney winner. That's a big fight for him. But that Josh Taylor fight commercially with the bad blood is one that I would love to make for January, February next year.
Eddie, do you think Josh Taylor wants that fight? Because everything that seems to come out of his mouth when it comes to this fight, this rematch, I'm not convinced he wants it.
Yeah, I think the bigger problem is the weight. I think Josh Taylor's going to be looking to move up in weight. Jack Catterall's looking to campaign at 140. I think the fight could be made at a catch weight. There's a lot of bad blood. Josh Taylor feels like he was right to win the fight. Jack Catterall feels like he was hard done by. They've not really got on. But I love that. As a promoter, you've got a lot of controversy heading into a rematch. You've got 2 guys that don't like each other. You've got 2 British fighters that, are fantastic fighters in their own right. So I think maybe a catch weight fight between those 2. The priority for Jack Catterall is to win a belt, to get his hands on those belts that he feels he should have won against Josh Taylor. But, if they're not available, the next best option is definitely Josh Taylor. And that's a fight that can fill venues in Manchester or Glasgow.
Eddie, I have to ask you about the big news today, especially for us here at talkSPORT, after the huge domestic dust-up between the light heavyweights Joshua Buatsi and Dan Azeez was postponed due to a back injury for Dan Azeez. 10 days ago, Eddie, you actually said this. Have a listen.
Again, you hear, like, of all the rumours you hear, probably 20% are true, but I hear that Buatsi Azeez is not happening on
Pardon?
October 20th. It's just what I've heard. Again, probably rubbish. Just some room, you know, like I said, most thing you read, 10% is true, 20% is true, but that's one of the things that I've seen. So I guess time will tell.
Well, time did tell, and it told us that you were right. How did you know that you had a back injury 10 days ago, Ed?
Well, I don't know about any injury. You just, you know, in boxing, you hear a lot of stuff, Andy. Some stuff that's true, some that's not. But, you know, I was asked about it, and I heard that, you know, the event wasn't, this is just what I heard, wasn't going particularly well, and it was unlikely to take place, whether that was true or not. And he ended up getting an injury. It's very strange to get an injury on the Tuesday of fight week. But look, you know, I think it's a shame because it was a good fight. And,
Eddie,
you know,
when you say it's very strange to get an injury on the Tuesday fight week, what are you implying by that? What do you mean?
Just think it's strange to get an injury on the Tuesday of fight week. I mean, it very rarely happens when you've gone through camp. I mean, this is really a period where you're not really doing that much. You're tapering down on your weight. You're not having any strenuous sessions. You're not doing any S&C. But, of course, injuries can happen at any time. So I'm sure it's very legitimate. And it's a shame because, you know, Buatsi's career has really stalled horrifically. And, you know, he needs to get himself a shot at the world title. And that was hopefully the fight that was going to do it.
Eddie, listen, thank you so much for coming on. It looks like you're having a whale of a time in that hotel room, even though we can just see your head.
Buzzing.
I would imagine it's a suite that you're in. That tells
no,
me.
Not really. Look, like, you know.
Oh, okay.
It's just literally got to iron the suit and then we'll be off.
I'm sure you can get someone. Surely Barry's there to iron that for you, isn't he? He's doing nothing.
Nah,
these
you're
days.
joking, mate.
No, okay. Listen, we appreciate.
He should be, to be fair.
He should.
I'm making him enough dough.
Always a pleasure. Big fans of yours here at talkSPORT. Thanks for your time, Eddie.
Cheers, boys. Bye.
talkSPORT Drive. Super opinionated sporting debate. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.